So nowadays, everyone uses the internet but underestimates the importance of online security. Exposure of personal information could lead to serious threats, and our team chose this topic in the hope of bringing more awareness to internet users. So first, let's move on to the first part, the environment. For most law-abiding citizens, the internet holds the promise of a huge and convenient global marketplace, providing access to people, goods, services, and businesses worldwide, all at a bargain price. For criminals, the internet has created entirely new and lucrative ways to steal from more than 1.6 billion internet consumers worldwide. It is also less risky to steal online. Rather than rob a bank in person, the internet makes it possible to rob people remotely and also anonymously. The potential for anonymity on the internet closes many criminals, allowing them to place fraudulent orders with online merchants, steal information by intercepting emails, or simply shut down e-commerce sites by using software viruses and swarm attacks. The actions of cybercriminals are costly for both businesses and consumers, who are then subjected to higher prices and additional security measures. About the scope, cybercrime is becoming a more significant problem for both organizations and consumers. Despite the increasing attention being paid to cybercrime, it is difficult to accurately estimate the actual amount of such crime, in part because many companies are hesitant to report it due to the fear of losing the trust of their customers, and because even if the crime is reported, it may be difficult to quantify the actual dollar amount of the loss. Criminals who steal information on the internet do not always use this information themselves, but instead derive value by selling the information to others on the so-called underground or shadow economy market. Data is currency to cybercriminals and has a street value that can be monetized. About the 6 dimensions of the e-commerce security. Integrity, which is the ability to ensure that information being displayed on a website or transmitted or received over the internet has not been altered in any way by an unauthorized party. Non-repudiation is the ability to ensure that e-commerce participants do not deny their own actions. Authenticity is the ability to identify the identity of a person or entity with whom you are dealing on the internet. Confidentiality is the ability to ensure that messages and data are available to those who are authorized to view them. Privacy is the ability to control the use of information about oneself. And finally, availability is the ability to ensure that an e-commerce site continues to function as intended. So now let's move on to the conflicts between e-commerce and other values. The first one, the ease of use. In general, the more security measures added to an e-commerce site, the more difficult it is to use and the slower the site becomes. Digital security is purchased at the price of slowing down processors and adding significantly to data storage demands on storage devices. Too much security can harm profitability, while not enough security can potentially put you out of business. And second, public safety and the criminal uses of internet. There is also an inevitable tension between the desires of individuals to act anonymously and the needs of public officials to maintain public safety that can be threatened by criminals or terrorists. The internet and mobile platform also provide terrorists with convenient communications channels. So now let's move on to the second part, the threats. Here are some common threats we want to inform you guys. The first one, malicious code. This includes a variety of threats such as viruses, worms, Trojan horse, ransomware, and bots. and it is designed to take advantage of software vulnerabilities in the computer's operating system, web browsers, applications, other software components. Exploit kits are collections of exploit bundled together and rented or sold as a commercial product, typically target software that is widely deployed, such as Microsoft Windows, Internet Explorer, Adobe Flash, etc. Secondly, potentially unwanted programs, or PUPS. Such programs are increasingly found on social network and user-generated content sites, where users are fooled into downloading them. Once installed, these applications are usually difficult to remove from the computer. Adware is typically used to call for pop-up ads to display when the user visits certain sites. A browser parasite is a program that can monitor and change the setting of a user's browser. Spyware can be used to obtain information such as a user's keystrokes, copies of email, etc. Third, phishing. In any deceptive, online attempt by a third party to obtain confidential information for financial gain. Phishing attacks rely on straightforward misrepresentation and fraud, so-called social engineering techniques. One of the most popular phishing attacks is the email scam letter. The fourth, cyber vandalism, is when hackers have malicious intention to disrupt, efface, or destroy sites or to steal personal or corporate information they can use for financial gain. Hacking adds a political twist, typically attack governments, organizations, and even individuals for political purposes. The next, a data breach occurs when an organization loses control over its information to outsiders. Let's move on to the credit card fraud or theft. This involves the unauthorized use of another person's personal data, such as social security, driver's license, and/or credit card numbers, as well as usernames and passwords, for illegal financial benefit. The spoofing involves attempting to hide a true identity by using someone else's email or IP address. And finally, the spam websites promise to offer products or services, but in fact they're just collections of advertisements. So, what can we conclude about the overall size of cybercrime? Cybercrime against e-commerce sites is dynamic and changing all the time, with new risks appearing often. The amount of losses to businesses is significant and growing. The managers of e-commerce sites must prepare for an ever-changing variety of criminal assaults and keep current in the latest security techniques.